Hey, Brendan here. Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Finishing up my summer scouting series, we're going to talk about wide receivers today. I'm squeezing this in the last week of August before college football and the NFL season. We are here, but I want to go over my top 10 wide receivers that I believe have the best chance to really go in day 1, 2, or 3 of the NFL draft in 2024. So it's a list. Things are going to change. We have a whole year of film to watch, but these are the 10 players that I think have the best shot to hit our dynasty rosters. So the top 10, I'm going to go through, the top 10 in a little bit of detail, and then I'm going to show you maybe 10 or 15, or the top 15, my top 20 on my Devy to Dynasty dashboard. So welcome again to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. If you play Dynasty, man, and you're looking for a channel out there to help you get an early glimpse of the future draft classes headed to our Dynasty rosters, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's what this channel is all about. Overall, what do I think about the wide receiver room? I think the thing that noticeably stands out in the 2024 draft class of wide receivers is the height and size of these guys. Last two classes, we've really seen a lot of smaller, twitchy space creators get drafted. Not primarily, but mixed in. And I only got one guy under 6 feet in my top 10. So this is a bigger class, and it's going to be interesting to see how the NFL values these guys, because there's a lot of 6'3", 6'4" guys in this class. So it is kind of atypical of what the NFL has been looking for lately in the wide receiver position. Everyone's looking for maybe this little bit of a smaller, more explosive player. He's got like yak ability, good hands, and explosive players, playmakers on the field. So let's not waste any time, man. Let's get right to it. I'm going to go 1 through 10. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of detail on my top 10, and then give you 5 to 7, 8, 9 names at the end of guys that could sneak into the top 10. But like I said, college football is this weekend, and the NFL is right around the corner, man. It is time, so let's get right to it, all right? Obviously, number one, I think, is on everyone's list is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, 6'4", 205-pound junior from Ohio State. This guy just checks all the boxes. I mean, he is the legit number one wide receiver in the class. I don't expect anyone to leapfrog him. So you're going to see on these cards right here, guys, what I've got. I've got career statistics. Most of them are 2 years. I've got some seniors, got 3 years of play. And then we got some PFF grades from the 2022 season, a little scouting report, their strengths and weaknesses here listed. And then you can see basically the draft and dynasty projections, where I think they're going to go in the NFL draft, as well as, future rookie drafts next year. And then dynasty, like, what is their ceiling? Where can we see them, staying on our dynasty rosters? So, like I said, Marvin Harrison Jr., not really much to talk about. He is the consensus number one wide receiver, and he's got the size, he's got just everything you want, the physicality, the athleticism. He's a technical route runner. Again, if you look at the scouting report, really the only knocks on him, he's not a yards after the catch guy. If you really look on the PFF grades, right, he's first in receiving grade from PFF, but he's just not that. We got to look at the scouting report, and there's not a perfect prospect anywhere, right? This guy's about as close as you're going to get to a perfect prospect, right? But he's not the yak monster, right? With the ball in his hands, he's not going to be that electric guy that's making guys miss in the second level. He's just going to work the boundary. He's going to out physical, out technical everybody, on the defensive side of the ball. Just a great receiver, and I'm excited for him. And if you've got him on your Devy League rosters, congratulations. And if you don't play Devy, and he's going to be, again, looking at the dynasty and draft projections here, he's going to be a top 5 pick, I think, in the NFL draft. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 quarterbacks taken, most likely. And he's going to be an early rookie pick, too. He's not going to get out of the top 5 picks in a rookie draft either. I mean, he is a stellar prospect. He is a really, really good prospect that is going to hit our dynasty rosters. All right, so not much to talk about with number one, really. Number 2, I got Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, 6', 200-pound junior from LSU. Really like Malik Neighbors' game. You can see here from his statistics, he's been productive for 2 years. His first season, he really wasn't that productive, but man, last year he put himself on the map. On this YouTube channel, I did a film on him on his last game of last season, with a film breakdown detailing the skills and traits that I love about this kid, man. But he brings the whole package together. I mean, he is a really good route runner. Love his body control, his boundary awareness, playing the wide receiver position is outstanding. I mean, on his film in 2022, man, they are littered with just great sideline receptions. But what impressed me the most about him is his size. You know, he's got that good size. He's not too tall and too big. And he's not that too small guy. He's kind of right in that middle range. But man, his yak ability I thought was really, really good. 418 yak yards last year, yards after the catch, 508 per average. So, you know, what's the knock maybe on Malik Neighbors? You know, probably his vertical speed, and he did have the occasional drops. You could see 9 drops. 8 of those, I believe, were in 2022. That's a 2-year history in his career statistics there. But nonetheless, the guy can win all over the field, and I can see Malik Neighbors easily being a day 1 selection in the NFL draft, a rookie round 1 selection without a doubt. And an immediate starter in the NFL. So Malik Neighbors, again, you got him on your Devy rosters, good for you. But exciting prospect. It's going to be the number 1 receiver for LSU going into the season this year. I expect him to put up similar numbers as he did in 2022 and really ball out and be one of the best wide receivers in college football. So coming in at number 3, Amama Abuka, all right, 6'1", 206-pound junior Ohio State wide receiver. So Ohio State, we know, loves to put wide receivers on our Dynasty rosters, and next year will be no different, getting 2 wide receivers, just like we did with Wilson and Olave. In 2024, Abuka is just a really good, well-rounded wide receiver. All right, so you can see from his career statistics, very productive, average 16.4 yards average per catch, so he's an explosive receiver. Good PFF grade. Yards after the catch, 526 yards, so he's got that ability. The one thing about him, I mean, he's got the short area quickness. I love how he attacks space. He's a good route runner, and he's got the ability to adjust for the football. My thing for him that I didn't see a lot of film on him in 2022 that I'm going to be looking for in 2023 is I'm going to be looking for, more vertical plays, beating press one-on-one, and getting a little bit more physical at the catch point. Again, these are nitpicky kind of, when I watch film on these players, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, right? I mean, we got to look for potential flaws in their game. I mean, Abuka is a very well-rounded wide receiver. I'd like to just see more vertical plays. I'd like to see him making more explosive plays. He gets a lot of his receptions in the middle part of the field, in the short area, and that type of thing. So I don't have his ADOT with me on his average depth of target, but I'm going to assume that that's a lot less than 16.4 yards average. But in any case, great prospect. Going to be a first-round draft pick next year. He's going to be an early-round rookie pick as well. And in Dynasty, I think these top 3 receivers we've mentioned so far is they're all going to be immediate starters. Assuming we get the great landing spots that we all keep our fingers crossed, right? When we play Dynasty, right? We want to make sure our players get on those great landing spots with good quarterbacks, right? So coming in at number 4, maybe a spicy pick out there, man, but this is one of my favorite receivers, and that is Antoine Wells Jr. They call him Juice Wells. Plays for South Carolina, 6'1", 208. Now, he is a senior. He was a transfer into the SEC last year. His first year playing in the SEC at South Carolina, and the dude just dominated. This kid is one of my favorite wide receivers in all of college football. I love his game. I love physicality when it comes to wide receivers, and this kid is all that and more when it comes to the physical standpoint. All right, so you can see here from his receiving grades. Not the greatest at 77, but again, there's just so many guys that are in that cluster of wide receivers, in college football that get these ratings. So, but the 19 missed forced tackles was really good, and that's what I love about his game. He's physical at the catch point. He's a really good route runner. He's a space creator. He's physical as hell. He's got strong hands, and he's a versatile player. They play him, mainly outside, but he played inside. They played him on jet sweeps. They want to get this kid the ball in hands, in his hands. Now, there's been a lot of comps out there on Twitter, and I've kind of put it out there myself, maybe 6 months ago, last year, watching this kid play, that he's got a little Deebo Samuel to his game, because that's just how he is. He's that physical receiver that you just love to watch play football, right? He doesn't have the long speed if there's a knock on his scouting report, and he doesn't have the elite athleticism, but man, I'll tell you, watch this kid kid play, and it's hard not to fall in love with his game, man. I'm telling you, the kid can play. I think he's going to be a sought after. I'm probably higher on Wells than most people. There's other people that probably have more refined, route runners and stuff, but it's still early, man. It's summertime, and we got a whole other, college football season. If you haven't really heard of Antoine Wells Jr, man, take a look at some of his games this year in the fall, man. I think you're going to like. I think he's going to be a late round 1, maybe early round 2 pick. He's going to be maybe a first round rookie pick, maybe slide into the second round, depending, again, where we fall. Obviously, draft capital means a lot when it comes to rookie picks. But I think he's a possible immediate starter. I think, he's not going to be a wide receiver 1 on a team. I think he's going to be that awesome complementary pick or player, rather, that could go on a team with a bona fide number 1 who could be a great complementary player and bring physicality to a team and do really well. Really like Antoine Wells Jr, man. He's one of my favorite players in the draft, as you probably can tell, right? Coming in at number 5, Rome Odunze. However, I've heard it mentioned so many times. Washington wide receiver, 6'3", 215 pounds. Now, he is a senior. I was surprised he didn't declare last year. Not sure what to make of that or take about that, But anyway, this kid can play. I'm really excited to watch him play at Washington. He's got a great quarterback in Penix Jr., who should be able to get him the ball. Plays with another great receiver in Jalen McMillan. He's not in my top 10, but he is in my top 15. But I really like this guy's ability. He played 70% out wide, but he can play in the slot too. He's got that X receiver size. As you can tell, man, like I said at the beginning of the show, we got a lot of 6-foot receivers in here, a lot of tall receivers, right? I love the kid's play strength. He's got the ability to high point the ball. He's got a large catch radius. The knock on his scouting report is probably his long speed and his yards after the catch elusiveness. But I'll tell you what, put him one-on-one with DBs, and I'm going to tell you most of the time, Rome is going to come down with the ball. I actually did an interview with Rome on this YouTube channel. I got him to come on my podcast, which was a really cool experience for me. So go check that out on this channel as well. But I really like this guy. He could be a late round, early round 2 pick. I'm thinking there's going to be 3 or 4 wide receivers in the first round in this year. And then most of the guys that we're going to talk about here going forward are going to be most likely, day 2 picks, I think, in the NFL draft. But again, as far as a rookie draft, he's probably a solid second rounder, assuming he gets that great landing spot. But I could see him having a similar role to like Cedric Tillman right now, going to the Browns, a guy who's going to go on a team and fight for that X receiver or Z receiver position and have the ability to start, right out of the gate. Really like Odunze's game, all right? Coming in at number 6, we have Troy Franklin, all right? Wide receiver, 6'3", another tall receiver, 187 pounds. He packed on about 10 to 15 pounds in the offseason this year, which I was really excited about, getting ready for the show. He was at like 175 or something last year. He put on some weight. That was good because that was one of the big knocks on his scouting report profile was the fact that he was at a very thin frame. He still has a little thin build being 6'2", or 6'3" rather, but I'm sure he'll get up there. But I'll tell you what, he has an overall solid game. This guy, I did a film review on my Devy to Dashboard, subscription service for my subscribers, and we did an all 22 film breakdown on this kid. And his movement skills and space creation is really, really good. I think this guy is one of the better route runners in the class. He's got good hands. He's got yards after the catch ability. The only knock on him really is his thin build and his ability to beat press coverage. But I'm expecting a huge season from him this year at Oregon. Bo Nix is throwing him the ball. He's going to be the primary receiver in Oregon this year. I have high hopes for Troy Franklin. I think he is a dynamite player. All right. Coming in at number 7, Keon Coleman. All right, he'd now transferred to Florida State. Was really one of the most sought after, wide receivers. Another big-bodied receiver here, 6'4", 215 pounds. He is a junior. All right, he transfers to Florida State this year. All right, so he's a true junior. And really just had a nice season last year, all right? And there's some buzz about him. He was the top transfer prospect. I know Florida State was really anxious to get him on them, so I'm sure he's going to ball out for them and have a great season with Florida State. But, man, if you want to talk about if there's a team, an NFL team out there that is looking for a prototypical X receiver, Z receiver to work the boundary, a high point guy to go down and get the ball, this guy is your guy. He has got the size, he's got the frame, he's got the ability to high point the ball, he's got good tracking ability, body control, he's got solid hands, 68% catch percentage here, you can see on the sheet. You know, the only thing with him, watching him at Michigan State last year, was a very limited route tree, you know, but we kind of see that in college football. So you really have to dissect the route tree and just look for movement skills. And that's what I do. I look for the movement skills to see, you know, do they have the movement skills? If they're not asked to run an expansive route tree, doesn't mean they can't. I think this kid's got all the ability to, you know, be a riser going into the college football season this year. I think he's a round 3 guy, most likely round 2 in the draft next year. His rookie draft, I think, again, it depends where his draft capital is, but I'm thinking he's a solid round 2 selection in our rookie drafts next year. And possible day 1 starter. I think he is definitely a possible day 1 starter. Keon Coleman has all the ability to be a starter on an NFL team, and it'll be probably one of the more heavily watched wide receivers going into the draft cycle next year. Number 8, you're probably wondering where Xavier Worthy is. Wide receiver, 6'1", 172 pounds, junior, playing at Texas. You know, the Xavier Worthy, I'm not as high on him as most people. I'm a physical guy. I like the physicality when it comes to wide receivers. I do. And Xavier Worthy, I just saw too many plays on film with him on vertical plays getting out-bullied and out-muscled by DBs. And that's a concern for me. He's got that frame kind of like Devonta Smith for my Philadelphia Eagles. You can see I'm wearing my Eagles. You know, the thin frame, right? 6'1", 172 on the light side. But he's got elite speed, man, right? So we go back and we talked early in the show. We got a lot of big body receivers. This is a tall receiver, but this guy's got some juice. He's a snappy route runner. He's got return ability. So if somebody wants a good player for special teams, he would fit the bill for that. And he's a vertical threat as well. The only thing is really a slight frame, and he had inconsistent hands last year. Now, I know there was rumors out there that he had a broken hand. So this year I'm going to be looking for his catch percentage. I want to see him not have as many drops, right? And it's going to depend on Ewers, you know, Quinn Ewers getting him the ball. But Xavier Worthy can certainly move up this list. I mean, he's, again, that twitchy, fast, you know, movement skill guy, you know, type receiver that the NFL really covets. So I may be a little too low on him here, but until I see better hands and I see more physicality to beat press and you know, not get stacked by DBs on vertical plays, like he just doesn't have that ability to go up and be a contested catch guy. He usually gets the ball in space and then he hurts you with yak yards and that kind of thing. So coming in at number 9, a player that I really like from a technical standpoint, Ladd McConkey, wide receiver, 6 foot, 185 junior from Georgia. I thought he had a spectacular year last year, was really impressed with his film last year. You know, again, these PFF grades you're going to see on here aren't the most prettiest thing in the world. But I'll tell you what, man, this guy, look at his catch percentage, 74%. He has got some really, really good hands. I think he's a nuanced route runner, comes from a good program, playing in the SEC, and I love his yak ability. I love his physicality in the open field. Probably needs to work on his physicality beating press. But I'll tell you, the intangibles, his elusiveness, I love how he runs with the ball. I have, again, on my subscription service, Devy the Dynasty Dashboard, I did an all-22 film breakdown on him, showing my subscribers on just how nuanced this guy is a route runner. I really, really like this kid. I think he could be a sleeper in this class. I could see him moving up. If he has another spectacular year in Georgia this year, I could see him moving up this draft board. All right. And coming in at number 10, one of my favorite receivers in this class, Malachi Corley, wide receiver, 5'11", 210 pounds. He is a junior, West Kentucky University. Love this kid's game. 5'11", 210, right? Most 5'11 players are 190, right? This kid's 210. He's a tank, all right? Look at the PFF grades here. Look at the 40 missed tackles. Number 1 in the nation last year, making guys miss. Now, if this guy doesn't have what the NFL's looking for, all right? I mean, we saw Jalen Waddle at 5'11". We've seen Zay Flowers, 5'11". These smaller, nuanced route runners. Malachi Corley, and I'm not comparing Corley to those players, all right? So don't take me wrong. I'm just saying from a size standpoint, this kid is a bully, with the ball in his hand. He is explosive. On this YouTube channel, I broke down a film of his most explosive plays in 2022, so go check that out. You're going to see what I'm talking about. He's got the physicality, man. I mean, taking this guy down in the second level, similar to Juice Wells, is really tough. I mean, and I love physicality. And you're a physical wide receiver. You're going up on my board, all right? Yards after the catch and contact, I mean, the kid with the ball in his hands is just, he's fun to watch. And I think if an NFL team is looking for an explosive playmaker, not for a guy that's going to, run downfield and, win vertically all the time, but a guy that they're going to move around as a chess piece, as an explosive playmaker to get him open in space with the ball in his hands, I think Malachi Corley has all the makings of a really fun, NFL player and dynasty player. He's a round 2 guy, round 3 guy. He's a day 2 guy in the NFL draft for me, and probably most likely round 2, may squeak into round 3, depending on how strong the running back class comes in. And I think he's a possible day 1 starter too. I think he could find a role in the slot. As you can see, he played 94% from the slot. And there you go. I mean, there it is. That's that's where he's going to make his bread and butter in the NFL. All right. So let me pull up my dashboard ranks. Okay, so this is part of a service I have here. What you're looking at right now, this is part of a subscription service that I sell, and it breaks down the future draft classes, 2024 class, 2025 class. 2026 class and stuff. So that's what I do. That's what this channel's about. We're going to scout future classes. So if you play Dynasty, man, and you're not really sure what the 2024 class and those rookie picks are valued at, subscribe to the channel. I think you'll check it out. So you'll see here, this is my list that you're looking at right now. So we stopped with Malachi Corley. You can see here we have J. Michael Sturdivant, UCLA player. He could, possibly, he transferred to UCLA, so he's going to be now playing, hopefully with Dante Moore. We'll have to see how that pans out. Really high on Dante Moore. He's an incoming freshman that I'm assuming at some point this season will get the rock at UCLA. Dorian Singer at USC. Jalen McMillan, Roma Dunze's, partner in crime over there at Washington. I think he's got a chance to go up. Jacob Cowling, an exciting player at Arizona. Ja'Cory Brooks hasn't really panned out yet. Bo Collins at Clemson. Johnny Wilson at Florida State. Devontae Walker, North Carolina. Dominic Love at Georgia. So you can see this list of these players that have the ability to move up. So again, I've got scouting reports on these players. I've got, film breakdowns on these players. So if that's something that you're interested in, taking a peek at, I charge $25 basically all year for the service, and it's really cool. So if you want a 2-week subscription trial, hit me up via email. You can see it on the screen right here. I'd appreciate it. So if you want to help me support the channel and everything like that. So I'm excited about the 2024 wide receiver class. I think it's going to be these big receivers that it's going to be really interesting to see how the NFL values them this year. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, so on this channel, man, I put down my quarterback show, and I got a running back show just like this one, so be sure to check them out. Didn't get to the tight ends. I'm running out of summer. It's the last week of August, unfortunately. I didn't get to the tight ends. College football starts this Friday, or Thursday or whatever. So thanks for watching, everyone.